Welcome back, my boys and girls. So today we're going to be talking about a couple things. First, physical release of Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap for the Nintendo Switch. Secondly, we're going to be talking about digital versus physical, my thoughts on it, my feelings about waiting, not knowing, and what my preference is and why. So just to begin real quick, let's go ahead and open this bad boy. So Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap is being released physical edition pretty soon here from Nicholas, from what I understand. But due to me being impatient and not knowing that they were releasing that, I pre-ordered this through Play Asia months ago. So this was released at the end of November in Asian countries, but it's also in English. It's one of those Asia English releases. And this is it's published by Arc System Works. So pretty cool. Now, my problem is that I pre-ordered this knowing it was going to be released at the end of November. I expected that I would, it wasn't exact. It was the third week in November. I think it was the 21st. My problem came into play that I didn't receive it until about a week ago. Reason being is it got delivered to my post office. Post office never came to my house, and this was stuck in the back somewhere. So I just got this a week ago, even though they had it the first week of December. So I'm very late on this physical release to where I should have almost just waited for the US release. But at the time that this went up for pre-order, like summertime, there was not a physical release announced for the US. So let's go ahead and see what's going to be in here. The Nicholas version is just like they always do, is going to have a manual. This will not. I believe I paid around $30 or so, maybe a little more for this. And that's all it comes with. It's the cartridge. So with the Nicholas version of the game, or the Nicholas release of the game, coming out fairly soon, I would highly recommend getting that if you're in the States instead of ordering this one. The artwork's going to be a little different on the cover, but it's the same game. And like I said, the Nicholas version is going to come with extras and a manual, so that's pretty cool. So we got the cartridge out. We're going to pop it into the Switch. Oh, party foul. Go ahead and get in there. So let's go ahead and dock this bad boy and play her on the big screen and talk about my thoughts and feelings on digital versus physical and just kind of experience the game a little bit. So let's do it. Okay guys, so here we go. Wonder Girl, that's what I'm talking about. Playing as Wonder Girl is kind of cool. So we're gonna go ahead and play as the girl. Now, before we really get into what I wanted to talk about, this game is beautiful. I just got to get that out of the way. This game is beautiful, and the interesting thing between swapping between graphic styles, I think, is amazing. So let's go ahead and peep that out real quick and just look at this. This is just sick, man. You hit the ZR, yeah, the ZR button, and you go to old school 8-bit Master System graphics. I think that's cool. Switch back to new school, and it just looks slick. I think that's kind of neat. I mean, obviously, this is going to hit some, nostalgia for some people, but this new art style is simply amazing. I think that's pretty slick. So we're going to be doing like a full-on play of this in like a stream or something at a future time. But what I really want to talk about is just kind of discuss my thoughts and feelings on physical versus digital. So obviously, everybody's going to have a different opinion, and just disclaimer, this is my opinion, doesn't mean you have to agree. You can disagree, and that's fine. But for me, it's not anything to argue about. I don't really care. I don't necessarily look at this in a crazy strong way. It's just the way I think and the way I feel. But having a physical release of a game versus digital is the way to go for me. Why? Maybe because it has to do with the era that I grew up in with Atari 2600, NES, stuff like that. Having cartridges, you didn't have anything digital anyway. But I think more so than that, was the fact that growing up, you know, we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have video games growing out our asses, just to be honest with you. If you do, great, but we didn't. I wish we did. So, you know, when a new game would come out and your friends would have it, stuff like that, or everybody was talking about it, it kind of, you know, it would suck because you knew you couldn't just go to the store and pick it up or ask your parents to grab it for you, or, you know, even wait for your birthday or Christmas. Like, there was no guarantee you would get it. So we would trade in games. I mean, just plain and simple. If we were done with them and that was it, we would trade them in and, you know, get what we could for them. You know, that time you really didn't have eBay or Craigslist or anything like that. Occasionally you would sell stuff to friends or family, but most of the time you just traded them into a store, you know, Software Etc., Babbage's, Funko Land, you know, whatever was around at the time, Ma and Pa shops especially. A lot of them used to have where they would be like, the games would be color-coded, like the value kind of thing, I guess. Like, I remember this one shop, they would have like games with a little red dot, a green dot, or like a blue dot, and if your game had the same color dot, you could swap it and like pay like $5 and swap it. So that was kind of cool back in the day. You know, you never really got what the game was really worth, but it's just the way you did things. And even to this day, I'll trade stuff in on occasion. A lot of times it's a big ripoff, not gonna lie. You're not getting much, but sometimes, you know, there's decent deals going on. You can get some money, or you just, you know, sell your games on eBay, Craigslist, you know, offer up, that kind of thing, and make, you know, a little bit back on your games. And when you have a digital version of it, you can't do that. You're just stuck with your game, you know. Yeah, I know, like, Steam has implemented some new stuff where, like, if you buy a game and it's just a stinker, you can, you know, within a certain amount of time, you can refund it or whatever. And that's kind of cool. That's a step in the right direction in my eyes. But I still can't embrace mainly having a digital library, especially when things don't transfer over, you know. A lot of games between the PlayStation, Xbox, and whatnot, you know, buying all those digital games. Yes, some of them have transferred, but not everything. You know, all the digital games that I bought on the Wii, I don't have access to any of those. Like, they didn't transfer over. They're stuck on that Wii. I couldn't get them on the Wii U or, you know, the Switch or anything like that. So that's one of my biggest issues, is you can argue just because you have a cartridge or a disc of something doesn't mean you own the game. You just have license to play it, just like if you downloaded it. And, you know, I say whatever. I don't care. But when you have a physical copy of something, you keep it in good condition. That thing's going to work for as long as it's in good working condition. If you have it in digital and you either don't have that account anymore, or you don't have the system that it runs on anymore, I mean, you don't have access to that any longer. You know, it could be the same. You have a cartridge of a game, you don't have the system anymore. Yeah, you don't have access to playing it. That's obvious, but you still physically have that copy that you can do with as you please. Back in the day, you know, when we were youngsters, you know, I wasn't a real youngster with this example, but, you know, if you have digital, you couldn't do this. You know, it wasn't just about trading in games. It was kind of like, hey bro, I got Resident Evil 2 for Nintendo 64. Let me borrow Harvest Moon for a Nintendo 64. And they'd be like, hell yeah. You guys trade or borrow, you know, borrow that Harvest Moon and then never return it. You know, you can't do that with digital. You can't, you know, can't come up that way. You can't rip off your friends with digital. You know what I'm saying? So there's that as well. But at the same time, I understand digital. I have a huge digital library of games on my 3DS that kind of sucks in a sense, but it's all good at the same time. I don't have anything here. Don't have enough for anything. I get the convenience of having everything there as well. Like the other day, I went to GameStop to go check out some retro games because there's a couple GameStops around where I live that have a nice, healthy collection of retro games. And while I was there was a dude trading a PlayStation 4 Pro. And I was like, man, I should have just offered him some cash for it instead of him trading it there. But I didn't want to step on any toes, so it was what it was. He got nothing for it practically. But what he was there for was to trade in his system, and that's all he traded in was system. And the clerk was like, well, do you have any games you want to trade in? He's like, no, I don't. I never bought any games that I could trade in. The guy's like, what? So what the heck are you doing with the system? And he's like, no. I did buy games, but they were all digital. I only do digital. Just more convenient. Like, everything's there. I don't have to worry about it. It doesn't take up space. And I get all that. Like, those are valid, great reasons for just sticking with digital. But, there's the pros and cons to everything. And there's going to be pros and cons to going physical, going digital. As long as there are physical versions of games, I'm going to get the physical versus the digital for those particular reasons that I've mentioned. Having some kind of value that you can recoup, the ability to let somebody else play the game, borrow the game, whatever. There's always been these talks of digital sharing and whatnot. And I don't know what's ever become of any of that. I haven't really seen anything with any of these systems that have really gone in that direction. And it's a shame, but, at some point, they may implement more of that. And as long as there's still physical copies, I will be buying that instead of going digital. Until the day where everything is digital, which I think will be a sad day indeed, I won't be able to embrace digital only, or for, most of my purchases. If it's something that's digital only and there's no chance of it becoming a physical release, it sucks, man. Really sucks, but I guess I'll have to embrace that. Dang, this guy. There's certain games that I just hold out on and hope there will be a physical version of, like Disney Afternoon Collection. I've been so wanting to grab that, but it's a digital only right now. And I really hope it comes out in a physical form, which I think it will. I think I've heard some talks of that. That would be pretty cool. But that's my story. That's the way I think. That's the way I feel. If you share the same views, cool. If you don't, I think that's cool as well. We're all entitled to, having our own tastes and views and what's convenient or makes sense for us. So there you go. This game is beautiful, and I just wanted to, use this game, I guess, to rant a little bit about my thoughts. And that's where it's at, guys. So how do you feel about it? Share your views down below. Keep it civil. I don't think this is anything worth arguing over. It is what it is. Man, that sucks. But look at the swapping back and forth. That's pretty cool. So share your views down below. Let me know how you feel about it. I'm an old school gamer, so I guess it's like, some people won't give up vinyl. Some people won't give up, cassettes, 8-track, whatever. There's even people I know who will not give up their VHS collections. They won't. They're like, no. If it's not released on VHS, I'm not watching it. I don't care. That's almost, I'm almost a curmudgeon like that, I guess. But hey, it is what it is. Appreciate you guys stopping in, peeping this out. Smash that like button, do all that wonderful stuff. It means the world to me, really does. And with that said, guys, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Boom. Thank you. Bye-bye.